Say it again?
That again. No, when they were filming one of the James Bond movies with Timothy Dalton, supposedly they were filming on some place where a lot of people had died and stuff, and there's one frame of film that they got where there was this, they blew up this truck and there was an explosion and there was a hand coming down, and it was flames in the shape of a hand. And I have the movie at home, and there was people taking pictures, and there was people, you know, videotaping it or whatever, and one frame of film has a hand in the explosion of fire coming down, and they said that it was like this ghost of something that happened on that spot where they were filming. So that's why I was taking pictures of the fire. But that's pretty cool that we got some kind of weird stuff on the camera. So, anyways,
you know what's
back
really
to you.
cool is in North Carolina, I used to live right off of the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Blue Ridge Mountain. Okay,
Blue
go.
Ridge Parkway was basically land that was kind of like appropriated by the government from all these people that lived in the mountains. Like, didn't even live with people; they just lived in the mountains for hundreds of years, many generations. And so you can still go and ride along the Blue Ridge Mountains. You can pull over and walk into some of these fields, and some of these places have actual like old graves, and not all of them are marked, and you can tell where they are. This is really creepy. You can tell where they are because there's depressions, these squarish depressions on the ground.
That's weird. My grandfather grew up in a depression.
You were such a dork, Eugene. This is for real.
Oh, sorry. I'm. What he did?
Not funny.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, there's nothing more to the story, but you know, if you want to ever freak yourself out, go to the Blue Ridge Parkway, get off the trail on a nice foggy night, and go walking through the pastures, and you can find yourself a nice little sunken grave. It's really cool. Freak you right out.
I want to know if you know anything about Drake Mountain. I mean,
just what you guys know.
You haven't been studying it a little bit more. Well, why are you here?
Because, you know, my parents, as a kid, my dad's brother got killed by a train when he was 16 years old, and after my uncle died, my dad's mom and dad and his brothers and sisters still heard his brother in the house, and
ooh,
that's a story
creepy.
That my dad told me, and
wow.
My mom growing up said she saw the Virgin Mary in the sky. So I've never seen anything. This place is supposed to have all kinds of stuff.
So you're hoping
I want to
that
see
you're
something. Yeah.
You're here to affirm that it's out there.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, I hear stories. I hear stories upon stories. There's books and books of stuff, but I want to see something.
I can tell you've never heard of the leprechauns in Vermont. I didn't think there were any.
Oh, according to
ghosts,
this book.
Definitely. They're definitely ghosts. My friend, her, this was a long time ago, but her niece, I think, or no, it was her cousin died, and they buried her in the wedding dress. And everybody was afraid because they took a really long time for the people at the morgue to get the body ready and to bury it. They never saw the body after they closed the casket, and they thought that the coroners and the people that prepared her stole the wedding dress. Well, the next night, my friend's mother couldn't sleep, and neither could my friend, and they heard noises coming from the basement, and they opened up the door, and they saw her cousin, like, kind of walking along the floor in her wedding dress. Just looked at him and then turned away. Basically let him know that
she had the dress.
She was buried in the dress. When I heard that, I was like, that's amazing, because both of them say they saw it. How can you say that it's not true if both of them said they saw it? You know? The same exact thing. One wasn't like, well, I'm not really sure. The other one was like, no, man, I saw it too. I saw it, you know? I want to see that. I want to see a freaking ghost in a wedding dress.
I saw a UFO once.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you what?
I saw a UFO.
Really?
Are you sure it was a UFO?
Well, I love looking up at the sky and the stars and stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And one night I was looking up and I saw a star here, here, and here. It looked like a triangle, and I was like, that's pretty weird. And then the three stars started spinning in like a shape of a circle, and I was like, wow,
whoa,
no way.
Not
and then they went in three different directions.
Did you really see that?
That's
When
amazing.
did you see that?
It was like, it
I don't
was
think I've
probably
ever
like 20
seen
years
that.
ago.
That's
Really?
so
Yeah.
cool. What color
Really?
are the lights?
They were the same color as a star. They were just white
I heard
little
that they're
dots in the
kinda
sky.
Like, they're almost like they don't have a color, kind of. Like
Right.
They're just
Well,
bright.
yeah, like stars don't have a color. They're
Yeah.
just white. But I mean, there was one here, here, and here. It was like a triangle, and I was just, you know, like
How big
looking
was
for
it?
meteors or what. I mean, it was so far away. You know, it was just
Wow.
like but it was just like,
Now
wow.
I want to see a UFO.
Yeah. Well, there's supposedly you're gonna see
here.
that and a lot more here if we.
Have
we're
they
lucky
talked
enough.
about UFOs here? Like they think maybe instead of
Well, they've
ghosts,
seen strange lights, so the lights could be UFOs. It could be, you know, like the Marfa lights, or they could be ghosts or whatever.
Explain
but
to me about the Marfa lights a little more. Do you know about them?
I know a little bit. I forget where they are, but
Yeah, they're
somewhere
Texas,
out west
right?
or whatever. What?
Yeah, they're in Texas.
Yeah, is it Texas?
Yeah.
I knew it was out
How
west
long
somewhere.
has this phenomenon been going on?
Over 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just and
Cowboys have seen it.
there's nothing there except for these lights that are just kind of dancing and bopping along. And if you try to get, like, you could just keep going and going and going and try to get close to them, and you never can for whatever reason.
You can never get them?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I actually heard on the radio once this guy claims to have touched one.
Oh, I've
It
touched
was
the Marfa
yeah,
light?
I know.
No.
I
wonder
forget
what
what it
it
was.
felt
It was
like.
some program on, you know, on my satellite radio, and the guy claimed that it was in the middle of the road, and he walked over and touched it.
Wow. I didn't hear that story yet.
How do you touch a Marfa light?
I don't know.
I don't know exactly.
Wait, no.
I think he said he.
Tinkerbell or
It went
something?
out.
I think he said it just kind of fizzled and disappeared.
That's
Oh,
creepy.
that's
You know, they've got
crazy.
these glowing lights out in, was it like Blowing Rock or Boone in North Carolina somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah. Have you heard about this?
No,
You
I
can-
definitely have.
You hang out in the, I mean, it's like Lenore, somewhere in the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and people just hang out and they did talk about it. I never saw them myself, but
No, it's just the rocks, or at least the rock formation. At least it looks like that.
Yeah,
and it's just glowing.
yeah, I can't
And
remember.
nobody can really explain it. And I mean, they can't really prove it. I mean,
but they see it.
but it's there, so it's like, how,
Yeah,
where's
and
your
they can't,
your
yeah.
proof's right there, and they're like, well, there's some way to explain it. You know how
But
the
they can't explain.
how the
it, yeah.
scientists are like, well, the stalactite and the blah blah blah, and you mix it with the lye, and when the
kinda
sun hits
glows.
it this way, it's sort of, and then you know if you're half blind and you see spots, then there you go.
You know, the
You can
scariest.
explain it that way.
The scariest thing I remember when I was a kid and I went camping, and we were all camped out. It was like for conservation camp, and we all had to like make our little lean-tos and little fires and stuff. And after everybody doused their fires and turned off their flashlights and went to sleep, my eyes got really used to the dark. And then I opened them. I rolled over and opened them, and we're under a lean-to of tarps, and so we're out in the woods. And I rolled over and I saw this thing, and it was glowing, and it was like right next to my head, and I like lost my mind. I was like, I mean, it was glowing like as day, and it was just like crazy glowing, and I freaked right out, and I like ran up and I was like screaming like I'm on fire, and I go to the counselors,
Right
which I
to
could
your
barely
face,
see. Yeah, it was
practically.
right on my face, and freaking out. I'm like, come, Bruce, get this, and I dragged them down. They turned on all the flashlights, and they can't find anything. And so they're like, there's nothing there. So they turn off the flashlights and they go to leave. And there it is, it's glowing again.
Oh,
you know what it
God.
was?
No.
It was this fungus that grows in the
Oh,
tree stumps.
No way.
Yeah, it's phosphorescent. It was the coolest
that's
thing.
awesome.
But as soon as he broke a piece off, it lost its glowing
Right.
ability.
You-
But that was cool. But it
Wow.
scared the crap out of
You
me.
just kind of
bet.
jogged my memory from when I was a kid. I totally tried to block this thing out because it freaked me out so much. But I must have been like 8 years old, and it was nighttime when I was sleeping, you know, and I woke up and I looked at the very edge of my bed, and there was like this figure standing there, and I tried to scream for my parents, but all I could do was this. And it was like
No voice came
I
out?
could not make any noise. And you know, it was there, and so I couldn't scream, I couldn't get my parents, so I just got underneath the covers and didn't look anymore, and then went back to sleep or whatever. And then several years later, you know, well, lots of years later, you know, like when the internet came around, so, you know, 25 years later or whatever.
How old are you?
I'm on the internet, and I'm doing research on UFOs and stuff because, you know, I saw the little thing in the sky. And they say that when, like, aliens, the alien abduction stuff or whatever come, they stand at the edge of your bed, and for some strange reason, you can't make a sound or whatever. So
Really?
so I always wondered, did I get abducted by aliens that night?
have you
Was
had
there an
nightmares?
alien in my room or whatever? But I saw something at the edge of my bed. Like I said, I was probably around 8 years old, and I tried to scream, and my parents' room was like, you know, 10 feet away, and I couldn't do anything. It was just the weirdest thing.
Possible
And I like
that they
I said,
might
I've
do
blocked that
something
out
like
for
that.
so many years, just because it was kind of, you know, freaky for an 8-year-old or whatever.
Well, if we were exploring another world and we were like, I don't know, say the aliens come down here, they see that there's these new life forms, they're going to want to take us and either, like, you know, experiment on us or dissect us because they want to know what we are. We would do the same thing, except maybe we'd be so afraid we'd just obliterate them.
Actually, the difference is we're very inhumane when we do experimentation on anything.
Right, and
so
they're
if
making it so you don't really remember. You don't remember a piece of it.
Abducts you to...
Oh
right, no, I'm saying,
I'm
like...
gonna cut you into little pieces.
Like
I'm gonna dissect those little pieces.
Any sci-fi movie you've ever... Any sci-fi movie you've ever seen where we find an alien, what is the first thing you do? We, like...
Kill it.
We put it in, like, some kind of prison thing. Yeah. We, you know, hold it down. We try to figure out what it's all made of. But then, if you ever... hear of people telling their stories of abductions, they're like, you know, they put this up my this and put that down my that and and all this stuff. So it's like the same thing. You know, we complain because they've done it to us if any of them are real, but we would do, you know, 5 times worse stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're sticking a probe up you. That's uncomfortable, but that's not anything different than pretty much what we do in medical science anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be like cutting them open and killing them and who knows? We might even use them as like a new fuel source if we could. You know? Hey, I can start my car with this.
Really? Well, that's not very
Best evidence we have so far is that most of them are actually government experiments. And the UFO abduction phenomena is actually a post-hypnotic suggestion placed there by the experimenters to... They don't want anybody to know what they're doing.
The government's blamed to like 800% of the stuff that happens in the United States anyway.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you do have to realize that we can't just be chaotic running around without some sort of form of authority. I mean, I don't agree with the government. I think the government sucks, but...
In the, you know, as far as like Roswell Area 51, you know, whether something happened there in 1947 or not,
there's got to be something.
They know more than what they're letting us know, and there's documents that have been released, and like 3/4 of the page is in blacked out and black magic markers, so you can read on this date, blackout, 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 blackout. This person, blackout, blackout, black. So there's really nothing in between all that stuff that you got any kind of story.
They said they found some sort of material there that was not found on Earth.
Right. This
some
metallic
type of
it was
material
like
that they cannot make here. They cannot explain it, and it's like, well, what do you think it is then? Huh?
Right. It's like Reynolds wrap. It's like Reynolds wrap that you can crush up like this into a big piece, and you throw it down, and it goes. It comes right back out or whatever. Well, and metal that you could heat so hot that, you know, any other metal you would be able to do something, and it didn't do anything to it at all.
Totally heat resistant.
You know.
Amazing.
But that's why I'm here, because there's more out there than, you know, we're ever going to find out.
Exactly.
And if this is the place where things are happening, then that's why I'm here. You know, I mean, we're in this together, I guess. I mean, you're all here for the same reason, I think, as I am. You know, let's find out if there's something here or not.
Well, I don't want to find out. I already basically know. I just kind of want to be part of it.
Gotcha.
You know, I don't have any doubt whatsoever that aliens exist, that ghosts are real, that, you know, there's an alternate dimension out there, maybe, where there's another you. And you don't know that because there's like difference between like the dream world and your real world.
Right.
If you've ever had something happen to you where you just woke up and you kind of have a feeling about something and boom, it happens.
Yeah, all the time. All the time that happens.
You're still in your alternate reality. It's already happened to you there. It hasn't happened to you yet. So, I don't know. That's one of the things that I believe in. I mean, I don't know if my alternate self would be anything like me at all, you know, but I would assume that she probably has made choices that I haven't made, and I've made choices that she hasn't made. So one day they're gonna meet.
And there could be more than there could be more than one alternate reality. There could be more than 2 of you. There could be 10 alternate realities where there's 10 of you.
I'm just talking about the dream world. You know? I mean, who knows how many alternate realities there are? The human mind can't wrap around that. That's
I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and like, you know, in the past 50 years or whatever, our technology has just like gone kaboom. You know, like a computer 50 years ago, if there even was a computer 50 years ago, I don't remember when the first computer. It was like the binary, like huge thing that weighed more than an airplane and didn't really do anything. And now we got cell phones and laptops and all kinds of stuff.
We're focusing too much on that kind of stuff, though. We aren't finding alternative fuel sources. We aren't, you know, we have so much potential, and we're just spending it all on, well, how can I fuel the economy? How can I, you know, drill better holes in the earth for oil?
Right, but I'm saying if we've done that in 50 years, and there's life somewhere else, and that life has been around even 200 years longer than us,
well, if we put more
they
money
could
in, like,
they could have figured out like
and
5 times the amount of stuff that we've come up with already.
Well, I agree.
So they could find a way through that other dimension, or
they could
get a spaceship that gets here in a second.
But what are they spending their money on instead, you know?
Yeah.
They're spending the money on wars.
Exactly.
That's what they're spending their money on. Wars and politics and bullshit. I hate that.
So I got a good one.
How does it taste? Like dirt?
Wait, come on. Julia's trying to take her crack at the scary ghost story.
No,
let's give her the floor.
Let's hear it.
Come on.
I'm psyched.
Hey, I'll give a little spotlight on you.
Oh, God. Turn that off.
Is that too bright?
Yeah, that's too bright. Okay, so okay, so my mom lives in this place, this townhouse that apparently, okay, I didn't know anything about. And one night I stayed over, I was on my way to college and staying the night at my mom's house. And I slept in the basement because there's a bedroom in the basement. And I was sleeping there, and I had this strange sensation that there was a very tall man with a light on the top of his hat.
Jeff Goldblum.
No, it wasn't Jeff Goldblum. It was but he could have been tall like that. But he had like a top hat with a light on it.
Abraham Lincoln.
It kind of like that. Abraham Lincoln and Jeff Goldblum. And everywhere it was like the light was his eye, and wherever the light focused, it was like he was looking and searching, and he was kind of creepy. He was not a benign kind of feeling. And I'm in bed, and I'm laying there, and I'm kind of freaking out, but at the same time I'm like annoyed. In fact, if I thought he was an apparition, like out of my imagination, I'd be scared. But I thought he was real, and that, like, you know, he needs to get the hell out of here so I can get some sleep. It was very weird. So I told him, I was like, you know, go away. You're not wanted here. You know, get out of the bedroom. I'm trying to sleep. And then I went to sleep, and I felt like he'd left. Well, I come back a couple months later, and a friend of mine is traveling with me, and he's a family friend, and he's hung out with my at my mom's house before, and so that night it's time to go to sleep. So we're trying to divvy up places to go to sleep, and I said, well, I'll sleep upstairs in the living room. Why don't you take the basement? Because I really didn't want to sleep with the scary, creepy ghost guy anymore. And so he's like, no, I'd rather sleep up in the living room. I'm like, well, no, I'm not sleeping in the basement. And he said, well, I don't want to sleep in the basement. I'm like, why don't you want to sleep in the basement? He's like, well, when I was last time down in the basement, I felt like somebody was standing there, and he was really tall, and he had this light, like it was like a light on the ocean. What do you call those things? A
beacon?
Yeah,
Lighthouse.
Whatever. Lighthouse. Thank you. It was like a lighthouse light. And he was standing over me, and it just totally freaked me out. I mean, I know it's nothing. And anyways, my mom was sitting there listening to us talk about this, and she's like, oh, you saw him. And we said, what? Because I never told anybody about what I saw. Cliff never told anybody about what he saw. And my mom never told us that the freaking place was haunted. And not only that, but all the neighbors in the townhouses have seen this guy. And that all the mothers would like close their doors to their kids' rooms at night so he wouldn't wake them up. I mean, this ghost would travel from room to room, from apartment to apartment, and just lurk. And the weird part was that each of us knew it individually, and we never told anybody. And we each described him to a T. Oh, the smoke was bad. Anyway, this is like a real, true story. I'm not even kidding. It still gives me goosebumps.
Do you think that he's a negative spirit? Or
A totally negative spirit.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think he means to do when he comes around?
I don't know, like leech off like life force or something. I don't know. He just sort of like lurks. He doesn't do anything. I'm sure he's not really gonna do anything.
You think he's like a demonic presence?
No, he just lurks. No, but it really was real. I mean, you know, we thought we were all sharing like the same hallucination or something.
Oh my God!
What's wrong with you?
Telling ghost stories, huh?
What's going on, man?
You got any good ghost stories, Robert?
Yeah, I got one. It's not really a ghost story.
Yeah, okay, one for today. That's it, no more, okay? I'm gonna go to sleep and you're not gonna do that.
Oh, man.
Get the shit out of me. Again, seems to be a daily ritual for you and me. I'm gonna get you back one of these days.
I mean,
I'm gonna disappear. I'll scare you.
I'm sure you've all heard about how much stressful situations can cause psychological issues with people, right? And hear about soldiers coming back from war and flipping out and killing their whole families and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, after Katrina, there was this couple. I had worked with him years and years before. Hadn't talked to him in a while, but I heard about this through some friends. They were down in Louisiana, and they made it through the whole storm, but they lost their house and everything. It was pretty tough, and they had a hard time, but they just managed to start getting back on their feet. And he and his wife, they'd been married for 7 or 8 years, I guess. Anyway, they had a good relationship. Everybody thought they get along pretty well. They just gotten into their new house, and they'd gotten all moved in, and something happened. And one night, she came home from work, and he just attacked her. He killed her, stabbed her like 37 times, and he cut off her arms and legs. And he put her torso in the fridge, took all her limbs, stacked them up, put them in the oven, baked them up nice and crispy, took her head and put it on top of the stove, and cooked it up, all, the hair all burnt off and everything, but nice and well done. He liked his meat well done, I guess. And he stayed there in the apartment eating for about a week. And then he went, he got all the money he had in his checking account. He went out and he had a big night on the town. Then he jumped off a bridge.
Is that really a ghost story? I mean, that's like a crazy psycho killer story.
Yeah, where's the ghost part come into effect?
I told you it was
Maybe he was possessed.